On 10th of May, we celebrated Mother's Day and expressed our love for our mothers. Last Sunday, we celebrated Father's Day and recalled to our minds the sacrifices made by our fathers. Through the celebration of Father's Day and Mother's Day, we come to know more about the love of our parents, and thus we develop a deeper and closer relationship with our parents. Our parents are closest to us, closest to our hearts, and we to our parents. We love each other, and we never like to part from each other, from our parents. Today, Jesus gives us a very radical and challenging message. The Gospel of today, taken from Matthew chapter 10, verse 37 onwards, we read, "Whoever loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." The discipleship costs nothing less than everything. Persons dearest to our hearts, like parents and children, whom we legitimately treasure and cherish, cannot come in the way to our belonging fully and completely to Jesus. The discipleships require absolute commitment to Christ. We should not love anyone more than we love Him. And that's why He said, "Whoever loves me, whoever loves father or mother, whoever loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me." This means whatever comes between Jesus and His disciple, whatever comes between Jesus and us, which divert us from our commitment to Jesus, must be totally discarded. Nothing take preference to Jesus. No natural ties of family and society. We cannot prefer anyone or anything to Jesus. He is first. He is number one. He demands that He must have absolute priority over us, over even the closest human relationship in our life. Therefore, if there is anyone in our life or in your life who blocks you to obey God according to the command of Jesus today, forget them. Anyone who keeps you away from God, forget them. Anyone who keeps you away from walking the way, from the Christian way of life, forget them. Anyone who pulls you away or pulls you into unrighteousness, unhealthy life, unholy life, forget them, cut them off. Even if they are closest to you, forget them, even if they are your parents or your children. If your boss instructs you to do something more immoral, something bad, just say, "I'm sorry, I will not do." If your accountant advises you to save money, to do bribery, to save money from unjust cutting of unjust wages, say, "I'm sorry, I will not do that." If your boyfriend or a girlfriend drag you into indulge in unhealthy affairs, unhealthy relationship, just say, "I'm sorry." Because that is what Jesus meant by when He said, "Anyone, if you love more than me, is not worthy of me." If your friend pressures you to use drugs, abuse alcohol, or even skip from your responsibility and duties, or even asking you to skip from your school or colleges, just tell them, "I'm sorry, my friend." If your spouses scold you from teaching your children to the way of faith, to the way of Christian life, say to him or her, "I'm sorry, this is not the way." If your child pressures you to do something or buy for him or her something which is sinful, just say, "My sweet child, this is not the way." because no one is to have priority over Jesus and what he teaches us. We need to attend to this very sincerely, because too many of our human relationships cause us to compromise our walk with Jesus. Some people have so much influence over us. Some persons and things are too attached to us. We are gripped by the trend of the world. Before Jesus, before the kingdom of God, the natural family ties, the social bond, and a personal preference must take a back seat. Nothing should take preference to Jesus. Jesus' communication with people is not based on natural family ties or social group or social bond or a tribe or language or color or race. Jesus transcends all this and built a new community based on love. We, the disciples of Jesus, have to forget the family bond. We must be ready to go beyond, and we must be ready to go beyond the color, the race, the language, the culture. And this is possible only if we keep Jesus as the number one priority in our life. Today, let us ask Jesus to teach us to love Him and keep Him as the center of our life, of our family, and of our society. Amen.